Hey guys, first regards here, I'll be talking about the best Omnissian Axe build for the Techmarine class in Space Marine 2 past 12. Now, this build will be primarily using things like Arc Cleave and Push the Advantage to up our melee damage, and the newly buffed perk Battlefield Repairs that gives us additional armor, which is actually a very strong team perk at the moment. Now, the Omnissian Axe is one of the strongest melee weapons in this game currently, in my opinion, mainly because the AoE damage from Discharge on this is very strong. You can actually one combo pretty much any Majoris in the game off a Servo Gunstrike into a Discharge attack on the proper setup of this thing because of that, which is a really good combo, though it does feel a little bit clunky at first, but I do have a full video breaking down this weapon and how to do that in the description below. But for now, I'll be talking about the version I think is best for this build, which is the Balanced Omnissian Axe. Now, the Balanced Omnissian Axe is, in my opinion, the strongest Omnissian Axe in general, mainly because you have a 19 strength here that allows you to hit the breakpoints to actually one combo guys, on top of a 7 speed, which helps you reach your discharge a bit faster, because on the Omnissian Axe, you are required to do an initial light attack before you get into that discharge attack, and if you have like a 2 speed on the blocking version, you are way more likely to get interrupted before that even happens, because unless you have no knockback active from a perk like Inexorable Salvo, you will not have any no knockback on this class for your melee attacks outside of the perk down here with the Energized Discharge attacks. It gives you like a no knockback during discharge. So having this 7 speed does help out a lot, and a 13 cleaving potential here is also quite strong. Now for the perk tree here, we do a bit of a hybrid setup, starting off with the Omnissian Rush perks in the top tree. The top tree here, I think, is the best overall, mainly because the Omnissian Rush getting a 50% range damage reduction is incredible for gap close. The Omnissian Rush is like ever so slightly faster already than sprinting in this game, so having an option for that is great, and a 50% range damage reduction is incredible in Space Marine 2. On top of that, the perks down here like Perpetual Speed, you really do not need these on a balanced version because you already have a 7 speed, and this way you can take Perpetual Strength instead for like flat melee damage increases, and also pick up things like Armor Siphon for armor restore on your Omnissian Strike for killing like any enemy in the game. Doesn't matter if it's like a Spore Mine, Cultist, or Hormigaunt, as long as you Omnissian Strike them, this will just trigger and give you an armor back, so really good there as well. Then we move here into the perk Perpetual Strength, into the perk here Static Charge. Each foe hit during Omnissian Rush increases damage by 10% within 4 seconds. Now, I've heard this perk is actually bugged and it's decreasing your damage, but to be honest, this perk doesn't matter that much anyways, and there is another hotfix coming out pretty soon, so if that's still the case, it's really like a big issue. Next perk here is Iron Rush, incoming range damage reduced by 50% while using Omnissian Rush attack. This perk will help you out tremendously in this game. Range damage reduction also affects your armor, and on this build, we do have like double armor regen off of executes from Majoris and above, which is very strong for us. So great synergy there. And the next perk here is for Armored Strength. If you have armor remaining, melee damage increases by 10%. Moving down here into the perk Perpetual Strength for even more melee damage. And then we pick up the perk here, Energized. While charging and releasing Electric Discharge, you don't lose control from heavy hits and you cannot be knocked back. This is one of the only forms of no knockback on this class, and when you do not have an Inexorable Salvo actually active, this is like the only way to have no knockback on your discharge, and having this attack will prevent you from getting staggered all the time and actually gets your damage off and hit breakpoints, so definitely pick this up. And the final 2 perks here are also mandatory in my opinion, which are the perks Rapid Charge and Mighty Blast. Now, Rapid Charge makes your Electric Discharge charge 40% faster. This is pretty self-explanatory. Your discharge is like the strongest attack on this weapon anyway, so a faster charge on that is godly. And the final perk here, Mighty Blast, gives you an additional attack out of your discharge, which will help you hit those breakpoints to actually one-shot those Majoris in a single combo, which is why I think these are both mandatory options. I think this is currently the best setup for the Balanced Axe, and really any Omnissian Axe. But that is all I have to say for this weapon. Now it's time to go on to the primary option, which is the Heroic Heavy Bolt Rifle Deathwatch. I think the Heroic Heavy Bolt Rifle is currently the best weapon on Techmarine, and mainly because the grenades on this thing make up for your CHP regen that he kind of lacks. They also make up for some stagger here, where being able to stagger enemies will save your life, and having that instant CHP recovery that I mentioned before when you are like heavily damaged and knocked over is incredible for you. And on top of that, the heavy bolt rifle is pretty ammo efficient and also quite good on its own as like an actual gun. Now for the perk tree here, I do just go for like all headshot perks in the top tree. You could build the bottom tree for like more grenades, but I think the grenades here are like really more like an emergency button than anything else. So instead I go up here with Headhunter first, into the perk here, Adamant Hunter. When your health is below 30%, headshots will deal 25% more damage. Being below 30% HP on a Techmarine is pretty horrific. Like, you are within one-shot territory here, but like sometimes this will trigger, and a 25% damage buff on your headshots is definitely substantial. Next perk here is Fast Reload, moving here into the perk Able Reload. After using a class ability, the equipped weapon instantaneously reloads. The servo gun can be turned on and off again very easily, so triggering this is actually a very easy thing to do in the game. I think it's actually much better here than it is on like Tactical with the Auspex scan. And next perk here is Headhunter, up here into the perk Tactical Precision. Headshots deal 20% more damage, non-headshot damage decreases by 10%. Headshot damage is just way more beneficial here than losing like a little bit of non-headshot damage. Now, unfortunately, you will lose 10% damage on your grenades here, but that being said, they will still get back like all of your CHP. They will still stagger, and they still do a tremendous amount of damage, so it's really not a big downside at all, and the headshot damage here I think is definitely worth it. The next perk here is Great Might. Moving here into the perk Increased Capacity, the maximum ammo reserve of this weapon increases by 20%. This does affect both your base ammo and your grenades, so really good to pick up. And the next perk here is, of course, Recoupment. Killing a Majora's level or higher enemy with a headshot this weapon restores an armor segment. The cooldown is 15 seconds. This perk may not seem that strong at first, but when you play around with this class more and you realize how many times getting armor back will save your life, because Techmarine is incredibly squishy in this game. He has like the lowest HP total in Space Marine 2 outside the Sniper class, and he's actually squishier than Tactical currently and doesn't have like any damage reduction for the most part. So having this armor restore that will help damage cap in this game helps you out tremendously, because any amount of armor remaining in Space Marine 2 will reduce all incoming melee damage to 0 even from bosses. And on top of that, armor is also benefiting from range damage reduction, which we get from our Omnissian rush attacks. So a really good synergy all around, and having this perk makes a huge difference. The next perk here is Rapid Health. When your health is below 30%, killing 7 enemies rapid succession restores your health by 10%. This one can actually overheal you like beyond 30% HP. If you're like 25% and you get a single shot, you'll go up to like 30%, which is a very good option, or excuse me, 35%. And killing 7 enemies rapid succession is very easy on this gun because you have a grenade launcher, and being below 30% HP on the the Techmarine is really not somewhere you ever want to be, because that puts you into one-shot territory. Next perk here is Perpetual Penetration, and the final perk is Divine Might for a 10% damage increase, and that's pretty much all there is for the main weapon setup. Now, for the secondary option, you do have a few choices. Now, I took the Inferno Pistol here mainly because the Inferno Pistol got buffed up this patch to have a 22% increase in its gun strike damage. Now, funnily enough, that does not matter too much on Techmarine, because unless your servo gun is currently active, you will not use your secondary for gun strikes at all. But that being said, the Inferno Pistol is still quite good for being able to like stagger enemies, having a great ammo economy, and also just blowing Bramble away from you, because one shot from this, removing Bramble around you, does help out a lot. You can also like one-shot sorcerer shields with this gun, so pretty good overall. I do take the ammo reserve option because I think more ammo is just better on this thing, and I build it down the bottom tree of like perpetual range and things like brace reload and perpetual range again, because more range on this I think is far better than like the motivated melee perk that requires it to be empty on the magazine, and also the melee damage increase here is not like super staggering anyways. Next perk here is Increased Capacity, moving here into the perk Adamant Restoration, which is like one of the best ammo restore perks in a secondary in the game. And the final two perks are Extra Shot for like an additional cartridge, and of course Trick Shot, which is like the best perk in this whole tree for armor restore and a 30-second cooldown. Now, the big downside of this gun is that unfortunately there is a bug in the game currently where your servo gun strikes are limited in range while you have an Inferno Pistol, because it takes the range of your Inferno Pistol into account, and the Inferno Pistol has a limited gun strike range in base, which does kind of suck. So if you do want to take a rate of fire plasma instead, you could do that. This is probably the best secondary in the entire game currently for Techmarine anyways, besides like the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol. And if you want to take either of these, I would set up this way for plasma and this way for the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol or any Heavy Bolt Pistol option. That is up to you. I'm just taking Inferno Pistol today because what I prefer. Now, for our Techmarine perk tree, I do actually take the basic servo gun with the Explosive Enfilade perk, mainly because I actually prefer the servo gun on the base version of the burn perk down here. I know a lot of people think the plasma enhancement is incredibly powerful at the moment with burn. That is true. Like, the Horde clear here is very strong, but personally, I think that there are moments where having the standard servo gun can be a bit better, mainly because the standard servo gun is an instantaneous projectile pretty much. Like, the projectile comes out much faster on the travel speed, and you do get back CHP for your entire servo gun volley, and that means if you're in a pinch and you hit your normal servo gun, you will get that HP back pretty much instantaneously, unlike the plasma shot that does take a little while to fire out. And on top of that, there are moments where, like, all you need to do is just kill Majoris and buff up your range damage a bit on, like, the explosive enfilade perk, so, like, sometimes this can be a bit better. But to be honest, you could really pick whatever combo you want for the servo gun. That's, like, the least important part of this build. The precision enhancement of lethal perimeter is also very strong to, like, nearly one-shot neurothropes and stuff like that. So you could definitely take this or the plasma if you want. I'm just taking this today because the base servo gun is quite strong with burn, and you also get access to bonus range damage on equipment used for 10 seconds with the explosive enfilade perk. Next perk here is Arc Cleave. Damage from charged melee attacks increases by 20%. This is one of the best melee perks in Space Marine 2. It is a 20% multiplicative melee damage increase to all of your charge attacks. That includes the discharge on your Omnissian axe, which is like the strongest attack on this weapon anyways, so definitely pick this up for a melee build. Really makes a huge difference. And the next perk here is also a melee damage increase, which is Push the Advantage. After a finisher, your melee weapon deals 20% more damage for 15 seconds. Now, a 15-second uptime in this game is a very long uptime for an effect, and a 20% melee damage increase is quite strong. Now, unlike Arc Cleave, this bonus is not multiplicative, it is additive, but it's still a pretty good bonus here, so I do pick it up. But if you want to take Long Range Barrage or the perk up here, Explosive Adept, you could do that instead. Next perk here is Battlefield Repairs. Any team member restores one additional armor segment for each finisher of Majoris or Extremis enemies. This perk got buffed up in 12.1. It is way better now. Before, it gave you armor on a sim use, which was pretty crap, and now it is a top tier perk in the game, in my opinion, for team perk options. Now, the only thing that kind of sucks on this perk is that it does not trigger on gunstrike finishers. It only counts for melee finishers, which hopefully they patch out like a hotfix or something. But even with that limitation, it is still very strong, so I do pick it up here. Next perk here is Inexorable Salvo. While servo gun is activating, you don't lose control of heavy hits and cannot be knocked back, and the effect lasts for 15 seconds after deactivation. You can turn your servo gun on and off again very easily in this game, and the standard bolter option does not use too much energy per shot, so you actually save quite a bit and have this knockback up for a very long time period. Really good combo there. They also buffed this perk up in 12.1 and has helped out melee builds a ton. Next perk here is Replenishing Salvo. Killing or incapacitating an enemy with the servo gun restores one equipment charge. Cooldown is 75 seconds. A 75-second cooldown on an equipment restore in this game is very strong, mainly because all the other ones are like 90 seconds outside of things like Secure Stockpile on Tactical, and killing or incapacitating an enemy with the servo gun happens all the damn time in this game. This will trigger on like Spore Mines, Cultists, and Hormagaunts and stuff like that. Really easy to use off cooldown, so definitely pick this up. The next perk here is Fortifying Salvo. Killing or incapacitating an enemy with the servo gun restores an armor segment. The cooldown is 30 seconds. Just like with this perk, killing or incapacitating an enemy with the servo gun is very easy to do on this class, and one armor back every 30 seconds on a cooldown is really strong in Space Marine 2, because Driftbed Armor Store is just going to save your life, especially on this class. Final perk is the signature perk Omnissian's Fury. Servo gun shots set enemies on fire. If you are taking the plasma enhancement or the standard servo gun, you just pick this perk up because their damage is pretty pitiful without that by comparison, because burn in Space Marine 2 is like one of the strongest damage effects in the entire game. It is why the Pyrocannon and Pyroblaster melt bosses in Space Marine 2. So pretty much always pick this up for those guns, because unfortunately the perk up here, Decapitating Stratagem, is not that strong in this option, and Lethal Perimeter is pretty good, but having burn for bosses is just way better, so that's why I take this one today. Now for the prestige perk list, I do take Chain Headshots first. Headshot damage increases by 3% per consecutive headshot up to a maximum of 15%. The bonus lasts 5 seconds without landing a headshot. This perk is just the Acuity perk from Tactical, and it's really good there. It's very strong here as well. Really helps out your heavy bolt rifle here, so I do pick this up pretty much all the time. Next perk I definitely pick up all the time, which is Indomitable. You become invulnerable to damage while activating Torrential Sentry Gun. If you plan on ever touching a Torrential Sentry Gun in your game, you just take this perk because it makes your life like 10 times easier. being invulnerable to damage while activating these things just removes all the frustration from torrential sentry guns, so definitely pick this up. Next perk here is Stim Boost. Medicae stims restore 40% more HP. The Techmarine is a very squishy class, like I mentioned before, and having a little bit more HP on a stim can take you out of like one-shot territory on this guy, so really good for that. Also just makes like the pickup economy of stims overall much better in the game, so I do like this perk quite a bit on both him and Tactical. Next perk here is Furious Gunstrike. After using a Gunstrike, melee damage increases by 25% for 5 seconds. Now, the beautiful thing about Techmarine is that your Servo Gunstrike can be used mid-melee combo, so let's say you do a light attack on your Omnissian axe and you're charging up your discharge, you can just shoot them with your Gunstrike and then have this 25% buff active for 5 seconds while your discharge goes off. Really good for mass horde clear and just like free melee damage. One of the best melee perks in the entire game in my opinion, at least for this class, because the servo gun makes it so easy to trigger. And that is pretty much everything on the prestige perk list for this class. That's pretty much everything for this build, guys. This is, in my opinion, the strongest Omnissian axe setup currently, mainly because you get all the benefits of Omnissian Rush, Armor Restore, and range damage reduction, on top of all the damage perks and the full combo potential of the Mighty Blast Discharge. So really good all around here. And as far as melee perks are concerned, we pretty much got all of them except for the perk up here, Counter-Offensive Protocols, which says after using the servo gun, melee damage increases by 35% for 10 seconds. I do think this is currently the weakest of all the options for melee perks on the Techmarine, just because you kind of already hit the breakpoints on Push the Advantage and Arc Cleave with Furious Gunstrike, and you're also giving up Armor Restore for like a little bit of a niche effect here, with like 35% is good, but your servo gun for 10 seconds, or excuse me, using your servo gun and then having this up for only 10 seconds, that is just not remotely as good as Armor Restore, or even like the perk down here, Strategic Gunstrike. So that's why we pick up only these, and that is pretty much everything I have to say on this one, guys. Hopefully this build guide helped you. I know a lot of people have been trying to use like melee builds on the Omnissian axe, and you could also just swap this over for like a balanced power axe if you want to and build it this way. It is like the exact same setup, or even like a Xenophase blade, because for the most part, this build is just like the catch-all for like melee attacks on this class in general. And if you like content like this, subscribe for more. And as always, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Bye. Oh boy. I mean, True Solo is pretty niche in this game. I would say majority of the player base does not play this, but if a build performs well in True Solo, it's definitely going to perform well in a group. Ow. I love unblockable spam. I want one armor back, but sure that's not too much to ask. Repurposing battlefield sentry. Shoot the Zangor, shoot the Zangor. I mean, the boss is a good option too, I guess. I guess I'm satisfied with him shooting the boss. My stupid servo gun. Oh, you fuck, you fuck, you fuck.
Target destroyed. What is a little sorcery to the righteous? Nothing. We sweep the cathedral next. Come on.
Okay, he just dies. I mean, alright. I want armor from that, but
Tactical supplies located.
I don't want armor now.
Armor's gun strike ready to deploy. Power armor is accelerated. Utilizing anti-armor explosives.
Alright, we'll grab the crack off the counter.
Enemy units call for backup. Enemy reinforcement process blocked. Heritage specialist suppressed.
Two-handed weapons have been pretty goated so far. They certainly have.
Required additional resources.
Did a pretty good job with them.
Fully operational. Ready to advance.
The humble, corrupted sniper cultist. I doubt that sniper cultist is very humble. That sniper cultist has probably caused more Stardy's death than the Ruben Marines have. Grab the crack off the counter. Yeah, you're what I said. You guys don't have a little bit of crack on your counter sometimes?
Refreshing armaments.
Okay. It's actually the most effective form of transportation. Beep beep. Oh yes, a perfect victim for my amazing discharge.
That is not in sight of central objective. Formidable heretic warriors suppressed. Attention, spore mines detected. Traitors unleash the Zang gun strike ready to deploy. Let the solo gun do its job. You discredited thousand suns terminating units
Kobe.
identified.
That was the most of a Kobe shot, I'm not gonna lie.
Silence the enemies before they request backup. Server harness gun alive. Restoring sentry to battle ready status. Thousand Suns champion nullified.
Oh, hello? Of course he was in rage. Are you worthy of a crack? No. You are unworthy. You are but an enraged Majoris.
Inserting fresh magazines.
The Omnissian whispered to me, he said no. Is there a progression to True Solo? No, it's just a challenge mode, that's all it is. And like, it's really not even all that difficult, a lot of builds in the game anymore. I guess it depends on the player, though. But see, if you're playing, it does defend the build. Like, some builds can definitely struggle against Chaos and things like that, or even Tyranids, but for the most part, it's not remotely as bad as it was initially. Bonk.
No match for the Omnissian.
Guys, get the fuck out of my way. I'm gonna kill this enraged guy, not the enraged, but actually, no, I would like to kill the enraged guy too. It would be acceptable. Thank you. Sure, this gigantic fat hellroot off of me. Thank you. Ah, yes, more Zangors. Oh, yes, and getting corner cams. Okay. Okay. I love enlightened Zangors. You can let me aim down my side tap for that. Three enlightened Zangors is more dangerous to the boss than like double Terminators, swear to God. They have so much area denial with their like gigantic exploding spears on top of just buzzing around you like little. Okay, that was a little fucking obnoxious.
Our foes lie broken.
I guess I could just spam base of them, couldn't I?
Thousand Suns champion notified.
Want an interactive, you say? Oh yeah. Riveting gameplay. It's super fun. Like, whenever there's a reinforcement wave, I'm like, please don't be triple flying Zangors.
The stench of corruption wafts up from the depths. Servo gun is fully operational. Reloading. No turning back. Understood. I do not like being this exposed. monstrosity reduced to base components.
Okay.
Fresh ammunition acquired. Minion overload. Gun strike ready to deploy. Cycling cartridges.
Hi guys, I'm very new to the games. Looking at going for Techmarine for my first character. Is it worth it? Yeah, you can play whatever you want, dude. I mean, there's no bad class in the game right now. Anybody who tells you otherwise is just wrong.
By lateral security, we need to authorize
They're peddling lies.
before it times out.
There are classes that are better than others, so, but it doesn't really matter that much. Especially for group play, it doesn't really matter at all.
Lift restored.
Okay.
Waiting on you. Our descent continues. It's delicious and tasty. The sun will come do its job. Narrative specialist suppressed.
Oh, very.
Shut down their call for reinforcements.
Gotta teleport like a mile away. God damn.
Silence the enemies before they request backup. Traitor leader terminate. Server knowledge counterplay. Submitting we disrupted the call to arms. Vanishing warnings. Not even as a witness.
Alright, where is the
Now.
cultist paper? Okay. Well,
Munitions.
that's the end of that portion. This last area has like 2 stims attached to it, so we're probably gonna be fine, but like executing the ultras here sometimes, like any interactable by yourself, you just be fucking death on Techmarine. Hey, imagine if Cyber Cultists are getting rage. Well, it wouldn't really make a difference, to be honest. You know, if they hit you, they actually one-shot you, but most of the time, you guys are killed anyways. You actually get hit. I cannot wait for Total War 40k to finally come out. I'm curious when we're going to see a Warhammer Skulls for it. Literally all Rubik Marines. I guess they take bonus range damage. I don't actually know if they take bonus range damage for the turrets, though. I bet they probably do.
I can restore this sentry to operational status.
Dude, this sentry couldn't work.
Thousand Suns champion now.
MVP sentry in that spot.
Destruction confirmed.
Are the in-lore las guns as strong as sniper cultists? If they're fully power packed, they can pure ceramite. Like those are also like warp things, not even like really las guns anymore. The cultists are kind of like warp tainted and shit, so that definitely changes it. Also, power scaling in 40k is not really. It's not really something to be taken that seriously in the first place.
Activity quelled. Spec weaponry for functionality. That looks done and dusted.
Stim. What the fuck?
That accursed Terminator is a mockery to the Omnissian.
Lovely, lovely.
Target raised.
Wonderful. That's a pretty nicely placed turret there. Oh, lovely.
Restoring sentry to battle-ready status.
grab this right now when all the visual spam is done.
It can weave no spells when it is dead. Replenishing ordnance.
It's over. Not enough particle effects, I say. Should have been more. Wonderful, wonderful.